Three things I wish I knew when I was experiencing my depression. I was suicidally depressed from 16 to my early 20s after the passing of my grandmother. And I wish I had known these three, amongst many other things, to help get me through it. So if you're going through something, I hope this helps. Number one, this too shall pass. Just as the good times seemingly passed out of nowhere, you wake up one morning, the world's a little bit darker, the weight on your shoulder is a little bit heavier, and it seemingly came from nowhere. Just as the good times pass, so too will this hard time. It's as simple as that. Sometimes you just have to wait it out. And I wish I had known that, because the mindset that I had that led me down the negative mindset to being depressed, to experiencing a depression, to then suicidal depression was, this is never going to end. Life is never going to get better. It's always going to be this dark, which is absolutely the farthest thing from the truth. That's just not how life works. Life is an ebb and flow. You're going to have great times. You're going to have hard times. While you're in the hard times, look for something to learn. Recognize it's just a season. Things will pick back up. And then when things are on top, learn to celebrate them, because those too will pass. That's just how life operates. So, number one, this too shall pass. Number two, there is so much more in your control to help you overcome your depression than you realize. Namely, amongst us as common humanity, being the three main things we have to do on a daily basis across everybody, so it's not unique to you, that we all have to do. I was very repetitive. I'm just going to get to the point. Sleep well, eat well, and exercise daily. Here's the thing. Sleeping, absolutely paramount. Any 12-step program, you're gonna hear the acronym HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Tired is my biggest trigger. When I get tired, I lose battles in here I had previously won, because I just don't have the mental capacity to do it anymore. I'm too tired to fight that fight. So you have to make sure that you're taking care of your sleep. When it comes to the brain function, sleep is the only time the brain truly relaxes and cleanses itself. Our prefrontal cortex, our limbic system, the amygdala, all of these things are tied together. They house our emotions. They house our ability to reconcile conscious thought. They house the threat and challenge response, which in summary is how we view the world from a positive or a negative, I can do this or I can't do this perspective. All of that lives inside the brain that allows us to perceive life as either good or bad is regulated with our sleep. Our sleep is absolutely paramount, especially if we're trying to overcome anxiety or depression. You need to take care of your sleep, minimum of 7 hours. If you're in a depression or feeling depressed, you need more. Got to regulate the brain. Let it sleep. You deserve your rest. The second part within number two is eating. You have to pick a nutritional discipline, whatever that means for you. High level, watch your sugar, watch your grains, your flours, watch your seed oils, watch your dairy intake. And if you're dealing with a depression or anxiety for that matter, and you're battling inner demons in here, cut out alcohol altogether. It is a depressant. You cannot escape from your demons while trying to drown yourself in alcohol. Cut it out, because all it's going to do is make things worse. It is the elixir for your demons in here. Cut it out. If you're dealing with a depression, don't do it. Big thing about choosing your nutritional discipline and why it's so important when overcoming anxiety and depression is our gut. When we are born, when we're being created, our gut and our brain develop at the same time with the same tissues, very similar tissues. So our gut is our body's second brain. That's why we refer to it that way. When you look at the hormones that live in the gut, two main ones when it comes to our happiness, again, overcoming depression here, serotonin, which is our happy hormone, 90% of that is housed in the gut. Dopamine, 50% of it comes from our gut. and is housed in our gut. We have to take care of our gut because it has a direct relation and plays a direct role in our well-being, not just from a satiated and muscle building or weight loss perspective, but from up in here. Mental and emotional well-being is housed in the gut just as much as it is the brain. We have to take care of the gut. Now, when it comes to movement, which is 2C, the third part of number 2 here, you have to exercise on a daily basis, at least 4 times a week, I would say. Great study came out of the University of Australia earlier this year, 2023, that showed that exercise, particularly high intensity when it comes to overcoming depression, is 1.5 times more effective than leading medication and counseling. Now, that does not mean I'm telling you to stop your medication. I am not a doctor. What I am saying is, even if you're on medication, you need to add daily exercise into your routine because it needs to be a mainstay in our approach to overall well-being. Exercise no longer needs to be looked at solely for the purpose of looking good naked and trying to impress people on the beach. It is absolutely a mental health tool that you need to learn how to use to put yourself in a better state of mind. You have to exercise I highly recommend 6 days a week. I mean, daily. Go for a walk. Interesting study, actually. I'll just drop this right here real quick. The amount of steps you need to take to stave off the feelings of depression is right around 5,600 steps a day. The average American takes 4,700 steps a day. So instantly, just from our movement, we are putting ourselves at a disadvantage because we are so sedentary with these modern day lifestyles. I mean, even now, I'm working. I'm sitting in a chair. I'm being sedentary. You have to get out. You have to go move. You have to tell your body that it's time to release these hormones that come with this and get yourself in a strong mental state. That is the purpose of the exercise. The six-pack, the looking good naked, that's an outcome. That's a byproduct. That's an additive measure. That's cool beans. But the purpose is to make everything right up here. All right. Number 3. I wish I had known that there's a difference between being depressed, which I would say I'm experiencing a bit of that now. I'm depressed, which is coming more from situations, than I am being in a depression. And being in a depression is more of a long-term thing that comes from a traumatic experience in life or a hormonal imbalance in the brain that you can't really tie to a situation in that case, right? Medication is needed for that. And when I was going through my depression, I didn't realize how much of it was caused by me, which in my definition is more of being depressed. If there is a causality of this happened, I'm feeling depressed because of it, recognize that and recognize, great. So if I change what happened that made me feel depressed, I change that, I address it, I won't feel depressed anymore. Awesome. Add that to number 2. There's a lot more in your control than you realize, but you have to recognize that there's a difference between I'm feeling depressed and I'm experiencing a depression. So when you're in that depression, that deep state of depression, that it doesn't really matter what you change, you're still going to feel depressed. Great, acknowledge that and then realize that's a different approach. I should go to counseling. In addition to what we talked about in number 2, in addition to making sure I'm sleeping well, making sure I'm eating well, making sure I'm exercising, I should go to counseling. I should go see a therapist. I should see a doctor. I should talk to them about medication. I should figure out how I can address the root cause of this and where is this coming from. Some people like to find the inner child and go backwards. Some people like to focus on going forward more with the positive psychology. That's where I lie. I like to drive forward. But the point is, there's a difference between being depressed and being in a depression. I think it's really important to realize those two so that you know how to approach it. Because if you're in a deep sense of depression and you're saying, if I fix this, I'll feel better, and you go and fix it and you don't feel better, Now you're just going to stack things onto your shoulders saying, man, why isn't this getting better? I thought this was going to feel better. This should have been better. And things get heavy. So you need to make sure that you're viewing where you are and analyzing, am I depressed or am I in a depression? What does that mean for me? So those are the three things that I wish I knew when I was going through my depression. I hope this helps you. You are stronger than your pain. And if you're not yet, you're capable of becoming so. That's the beautiful thing. It's on your shoulders. You can do this. All you have to do is keep forging. And I know when I say that, think about the forging process. It is painful. It's hard. It's long. It's arduous. But on the other side of that is a beautiful piece of art that is created through that forging process. You are stronger than your pain, my friend. Keep forging.